Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Tuesday, January 20, 2026 and I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Richard Fitzgerald. Good morning.
And for our news of the day, MENA media and entertainment market scene hitting 76.8 billion by 2034 according to a Mordor intelligence report. And we're going to talk about Zain, Basketball Premier League, how Smashi TV is now the exclusive streaming partner. We're streaming all the matches live. Part of the story, Trump has invited Putin, the Russian president, to join Gaza Board of Peace as global scrutiny grows around the whole plan. And Abu Dhabi has planned dedicated power tariff to support AI data centers. But first of all, the world...
Yeah, so Davos is happening, Majid. Yeah. What do you think of that?
World Economic Forum, I think after FII, I think now it follows FII. It's not the main event. I think now for the region, FII becomes more of Davos. So a lot of people were there yesterday. Sheikha Latifa, Her Highness, she is leading the UAE pack, and then Saudi ministers, Qatar, Bahrain, all have their pavilions. It's very interesting. There's a lot of coverage of it. But this year, everyone is saying that Greenland will steal the spotlight somehow with Mr. Trump doing all of it.
I think the markets were closed on Monday, so they expected the markets to open on Tuesday and it to be a big thing after Trump's sort of green line negotiation. You know, the latest episode of the drama series that is,
Mr. Trump in White House.
Mr. Trump in White House. So just, season 2, episode whatever, And right now it's Greenland. But you've got a video up here of the UAE Minister for Economy and Tourism.
Yeah. Very interestingly, Bloomberg journalist Jumana, she asked him about how do you deal with, you trade with Iran, you're the second biggest partner of trade with Iran, and you trade with Russia, and then you're signing trillions of dollars of packages with US as well. How do you deal with all of that? And his answer was so nice. It's like, our politics is trade. We don't do any other politics. We trade with everyone fairly, squarely. So that was one of the things that came out.
And it's sort of the thesis and the background of a economic forum, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see, as you said, Jumana, there is on the video there, she's from Bloomberg, and we always see CNBC with their interviews. It's like any of the conferences in the US, whether it's whether they're interviewing CEOs, gatherings and things like that. We heard a lot about Semaphore recently, and Semaphore have a big CEO gathering in Washington. But CEO gatherings are important. They're important for deal making, for communications, for media, and Davos is definitely one of those. A friend of the show, Ahmed bin Salem, the chairman of DMCC, is at Davos as well, and many other people. It's one of those ones I've never been to. I've read a lot about it. It comes up in lots of books all the time. The platforms go there, the leaders go there, and CEOs go there. I guess our taste of it, as you rightly pointed out, is FII. And it's, these conferences are important. We have the World Government Forum coming up at Summit in Dubai as well. So a bit of a different thing. Yeah. But I liked what you said. There's so much geopolitics. There's so much things going on. Whether within all the big players in the region and internationally, that the reason why media has so much analysis about everything is because it's never simple. Yeah. When you involve many people and many sectors and many countries, having a clear vision, even having a clear vision today might change tomorrow. Pieces are always moving. Yeah. Trade's always moving. Energy's always moving. Yeah. Commodities are always moving. Media is always moving. Comments move markets.
Yes.
So all these things have so many factors, and that's why something like Davos. And I actually like that some of these institutional events are cyclical and they're there, and you sort of know what to expect. Yeah. I kind of like that there's new players who are big one year, big next, and it's like, who goes to represent your country? Like His Highness Sheikh Hamdan went 1 year. Yeah. Like who goes to represent your country and things like this. So I think it's a good segue to talk about the board, the Gaza board, because do you want to read out the segments on that while I give it a segue? There was talk that the UAE representative on the board is going to be, who the UAE representative is going to be. But basically Trump is putting together, as chairman of the Gaza Peace Board, he's putting together people. He wants them, rumors say, to pay $1 billion each, but he's got 5 or 6 Americans on there, and he's got He's got basically
He's
Tony
asked
Blair.
Mr. Putin to come also.
Yeah, that was the sort of rumor that the Russians said, which is a bit odd. And he also asked, a key member of the UAE foreign sort of ministry. Do you have her name there?
I remembered her name. Sorry, completely forgot it right now. But the main idea of the Board of Peace is he wants to announce it at World Economic Forum. That's what everyone is saying. His main goal is that he can announce it there. $1 billion. I was looking at the list. There's 32 countries on the list which have been sent invites, and Bloomberg curated a very nice list.
Reem Al Hashmi, yeah. So Reem Al Hashmi is talked to be as part of it as well. And so it's obviously, obviously very conscientious, and it seems odd, but they're also saying that Israel aren't happy with that board.
Yeah.
So it's just we have MBZ in India at the moment with Modi. Everything, there's things happening. There's some people here, there's some people there. It just goes to show like what key brokers the modern Gulf states have become.
Yeah.
You have people from Qatar on stage that you covered at Davos talking about AI investments.
Yeah.
There's just so much stuff happening all the time. It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
That's Davos, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah. So basically, what happened was U.S. President Donald Trump has invited Russian President Vladimir Putin. It's very rare to see both of them getting along. He's invited them. French President Macron has said he's not joining it. Pakistan is on the list. UAE is on the list. Saudi Arabia is on the list. He's literally invited everyone and anyone who can join. Some of the names who have actually said yes are Argentine President Javier Milei and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. These are the only two people who've said yes, so they're investing $1 billion in the reconstruction. I don't understand it, but for example, let's say 32 people say yes and everyone contributes $1 billion to the whole Board of Peace, as he's calling it. Is $32 billion enough to reconstruct it? And why are people paying? I'll quote Mr. Al-Abbar. He very nicely placed it that my father told me, clean your plate, Al-Abbar. You clean your own plate. Yeah. So it's very interesting that why are other people coming and cleaning?
But they're not reconstructionists. They're not building homes for the displaced people. Yeah. They're taking the land, and if you go back to World War I, it was a similar situation where Arabs were in France and discussions over Syria and over other nations and Sykes-Picot and all this sort of stuff. And it was the same thing with the American president at the time and not respecting Arabs or having the Arab seat on the board. Yeah. And it's fascinating that we're 100 years on and there's still no Muslims or Arabs on the board. So it's just not a... they're making the same mistake again. They think they're winning. They think they're getting a plot of land and they're having a Riviera. But they're not. They're entering another basket case, and it's going to continue being a basket case. And the reason is because they're not entering it with peace in mind. They're great marketers. They'll put peace boards, but they'll
be a dove on everything.
They're real estate developers and they're capitalists, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just not a solution for this problem. It's a solution for many problems, but it's not a solution for this problem. And they think it is, and it's sad, but it's not a solution. And I often think that like we're seeing everywhere, knowing local nuances is a great way to have discussions, and it's for market entry or for anything. It's a great way, and if you don't know things, then how can you find solutions that work? So. It is what it is. It's above our head and above our business mantra. But it's obviously been discussed in Davos, and
they most probably may sign it on the last day. Because Mr. Trump, if he wants something, he somehow makes it happen. Be it tariff threats or anything. We've seen him do all of that to the Greenland thing. He's proposing a 25% tariff on if you're trading with Iran. He's proposing a 25% tariff on Europe if they don't give him Greenland. But he doesn't understand that Europe, I think some part of our Arab world and China, they hold like $10 trillion in treasury bonds. They can literally sell it make US go bankrupt. It's so complicated, as you said.
Yeah, it's a lot of
So
deal
many
making,
parts.
and the thing is that he comes out with his loud thing, but then behind doors, people come back with something, and then his loud thing doesn't go through because what's come back behind closed doors stops an attack or stops a deal or stops this or stops that. You know,
The taco trade thing. Trump always chicken. It's a very famous market move right now. Everyone is saying that if he says something and the markets goes down, it's a taco trade. It's the best time to buy because apparently he chickens out and the markets go back up.
Yeah,
and
he
he's
doesn't
done
like
that like
that
4 or 5 times, right?
Yeah.
But really interesting things. Davos ends on 22nd. It's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of it. A lot of content we'll do on our portals as well. But this is one of the stories that is making headlines. The Middle East and North Africa's media and entertainment market is entering a high growth phase, with revenues projected to rise from $48.4 billion in 2026 to nearly $76.8 billion by 2031. A lot of important numbers here. We'll keep quoting them throughout the year. That implies a robust 9.7% compound annual growth rate, CAGR, driven by digital adoption, young demographics, and sustained public and private investment across the region, according to Mordor Intelligence.
That number is massive. Like the billions numbers are massive, and the compound growth is massive. Media sector has not been part of what VCs and venture have been investing in the region, and because there's been foreign investments and there's been sovereign wealth funds, JVs, and things like this. These numbers are coming out, and it's going to really grow the ecosystem. Like digital and online platforms now dominate the industry, accounting for almost 60% of total revenues in 2025. Faster 5G and fiber rollouts across various countries in the region, not just here in UAE and in Saudi Arabia, are accelerating a shift towards mobile-first and on-demand consumption. Video on demand is the single largest content category. Video is such a key driver in the region, capturing around 30% of revenues as audience increasingly favor direct-to-consumer access over traditional formats.
This calls for Rich talking about the Zain Basketball Premier League.
Yeah.
It is video on demand. It's live sports coverage, but I think this calls for asking about it.
Yeah.
So how, why, when, where, all the details.
Yeah, so we'll talk about advertising as well, but
Yeah.
Augustus Media's brand here,
Yeah.
Smashi Business, is part of Smashi TV, which we say is a content platform for the dreamers, but there's a streaming element to it.
Yeah.
And for the last few years, you've been able to watch local sports, most of which we produce locally in the UAE, across basketball, volleyball, handball. And lately, we've purchased the rights through an intermediary, All Rights, who are one of these brokers who find TV buyers or others or streaming services to buy the rights of sports, right? And we see this at length in the US. We see it whether it's the NBA, NFL, we see Premier League and things like that. And obviously in the region, Bean and Todd have been broadcast sporters. But what you have is host broadcasters who sometimes broadcast the production for the local TV station. And then you have regional cable networks who might buy the deals. And then we also see that now in streaming. Yeah. And so we bought the rights for the Bahrain Basketball League for 25-26, of which we're halfway through. And we started a couple of weeks ago. And like you can see all the top clubs. Bahrain actually has a strong history with clubs like Manaman. They're not top of the league this year, but there's other clubs there that are doing really well. And it comes on the back of our sponsorship of the UAE basketball national team and the local broadcast of the leagues here. We've got the Dubai International Basketball Tournament coming up of UAE and other clubs playing. So there's a lot of overlap in what we're originally doing. We're quite proud of it. We've been able to, build a streaming service across all smart TV devices like Samsung, like Tizen and Vida and LG and Sony and Android and Apple and Hisense and all these different apps. You can get it. People do watch the Magic on their phone. They like to watch the games as they go. And it's available there as well. But it's quite exciting for us to do that, with local commentary. We have a team on the ground in Bahrain as well, covering their games on social media. And it's quite exciting. The business model around this is subscription. Depending on ads or ads-free, it's about 18 or 30 dirhams. And it's translated into Bahraini currency as well. Bahraini dinar.
The Bahrain dinar.
Yeah, it's translated into that as well, converted. And then, it works that way. And then the second model is BDH, isn't it? And then the second model is obviously what we're calling CTV, which is TV advertising, basically connected TV advertising on streaming. And it's quite exciting for us.
Yeah.
We're excited about it. Obviously the season dies off and people just watch these shows and all this other content. But, the numbers there were, upwards of 40 billion going to 70-something billion. Advertising generated 13.2 billion in 2025 and is seen as the fastest growing segment, expanding at
11% CAGR as programmatic and digital format scale in the media entertainment market. Subscriptions remain the backbone of revenues, as Rich rightly said so right now. But freemium and in-app purchase models, particularly in gaming, are also gaining traction. Gaming, esports, and interactive entertainment continue to benefit from high smartphone penetration.
It's just massively exciting. Saudi Arabia led the regional market in 2025 with 39% share. We saw the CEO of NBC Riband Shad. We saw him, Mike Sneesby, speak on at the Joy Awards in Saudi, and Smashi covered it, that he just even thinks we can go global with with NBC Shahid and streaming. Like, he really thinks they've got a good product now. He thinks the region has great stories. So underpinned by Vision 2030 investments, the UAE is the fastest growing market, supported by pro-business regulatory environment and strong international capital inflows. I spoke to a very well-known international private equity firm in the media and entertainment space who are involved. I won't give too much away, but I spoke to them, and they really believe in the macro headwinds in the region. They love doing deals here, and a lot of global media people like the partnerships and synergies of the region. Millennials dominate spending today, with Gen Z is the fastest growing audience.
And a few challenges here, such as piracy and talent shortages, but the outlook remains strong for the whole region's entertainment market. Partnerships, consolidation, and new monetization models are expected to reshape and sustain the region's media and entertainment boom. Rich, monetization, I know live streaming has been very important for us, for Smashi TV. The very first day I joined, I thought it was a streaming platform, and then we have a lot of things that are going on. Mainly, I remember Todd, CMO, he came on the show. He said a very nice thing, that live streaming is entry, and then you sustain people, you give them more programming. So with Smashi TV, we have that plan, right?
Yeah,
eventually.
Absolutely. I think, Augustus Media, we do obviously love in Dubai. So our mindset is sort of like, it's a newsroom, it's fast-paced, it's near live or it's live. So we're much more in that environment than we are in originals and slower, longer form content. So an adjacent to fast social media publishing is live sports and live content, live events. So it was a natural fit for us to move into live sports. And the news and entertainment around live sports is very real time. But look, like on Shahid, they had the Joy Awards. All the buzz on social media was when the Joy Awards was happening. At the same time, there was a game in Saudi with Al Nassr were playing at 9:30 that night. Ronaldo was in one stadium, Jorginho was in the Joy Awards, and both are live streamed. One's on Tamania, one's on NBC. And we also saw that night the Egyptian team were playing in the quarterfinals. That was live on Todd. So you've got three big regional events, or in the third place playoff. You've got three big regional events on three different streaming services at the same time.
Oh, yes.
You have the Saudi League Al Nassr, you have Joy Awards, and they're all live. So streaming now is live, and none of those three events are pirated.
Yeah.
I remember piracy was an issue. I remember watching Suits in London in 2010 through piracy because there was no streaming service, and then the programming wasn't ready. We stopped having time to sit down and watch TV at the same time every day. So I would watch it, but now I don't watch it on piracy.
Well, yes.
I don't watch it, but if I'm watching Suits, the Egyptian Suits, I watch that on, I think OSN have it actually. They made it like 5 years ago. But I'll watch it on a premium, if I can afford it, I'll watch it in that environment. Yes, piracy is an issue, and 5G is an issue, and maybe talent, but we're getting there. We're getting there fast. And there's also things like free ad-supported streaming service, another acronym for fast as well. But there's so much happening in this area. the monetization isn't fully there. We're not, and also people's awareness to download the TV apps and the penetration. Smart TV penetration isn't fully there. I think we're not at 50% yet in the region, not close to it. So, meaning there are many homes in the region that you go in who don't have the Netflix app on the TV. So they have to cast it from their phone or from the other device to watch Netflix or watch it on their laptop. But obviously here, most people are watching apps on the TV. They're not really casting, unless there's one app that you can't get, or unless there's this or that or log in. But generally, our behavior now has moved away from channel flicking to app flicking. But a lot of these numbers are streaming TV or digital advertising, but also they're media and entertainment. They're also, you talked yesterday about Sella going public. Sella is media and entertainment space. We had Ari Emanuel here signing a deal for Mari, which is a live events experience. He talked bullishly about people having 4-day weeks and needing places and things to go. So it's this sort of, this media entertainment isn't just digital. It's the digitization of what's happening in the real world in a live environment, and it's all the things that go with it. And I think it's fascinating. And obviously, you add a layer or a sprinkle of AI on top of it. Then you wonder how all this content is going to be produced and how we're going to consume it. But I think live sports in the region is big. We had the World Sports Summit, and we had a sports summit in Abu Dhabi. We had a football summit here in Dubai. We have lots of investments in players. We have lots of investments in facilities, in academies. I think AFCON was a great event, great tournament, a great showcase.
Such a nice final.
Yeah.
I saw
lots
it
of drama.
And I was like, what was happening? I loved how Mane brought everyone back and they won. I actually love the whole story now.
It's an amazing story, but I think the thing is, like, if tournaments don't have stories, they sort of lose cultural relevance. And people will be, in the UK, they sort of dismiss Africa a lot and AFCON, and they say this and that about it. But actually, I think it caught their attention this time. It allowed some people to know some of the players, and pitches were amazing. A lot of people were in Morocco in their winter holidays and things like that. Like, it was pretty cool, right? And I think that sort of momentum, and Morocco, it reminds me of the time when Ronaldo reached the final of Euro 2004, and then he lost 1-0 to Greece. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I was there.
You were at the stadium, or?
I wasn't in the stadium. I was on a train
nice.
in Portugal.
Yeah.
But I was there for the tournament. I went to a few games back then. But and then he went back and won it later. But Morocco have done well, right? They've done really well. But I just think it bodes well for the region. It bodes well for people like us who are looking at these events and saying, should we do content around it? Should we stream around it? We've seen TikTok have done a deal to get some of the streaming rights for the FIFA 2026 World Cup. And there's lots of Arab teams involved, like Qatar and Egypt and Jordan and Saudi, and many teams involved, and Tunis. And so it's going to be in Morocco, obviously. So it's going to be a great tournament, but there's many more.
Yeah, I think just to add here, live events coverage also. We've seen everyone has a live stream now. I think it's, maybe you can confirm it, but I think the live streaming infrastructure, the cameras, the whole setup, due to the advanced technology, they're becoming cheaper. If it costed you to live stream a 3-day event $100,000, now it's $50,000 because there's a lot of players involved. So live events, all of them. World Economic Forum is streaming live. FII, we saw everything was streamed live. Every event that now happens in the MENA region is streamed live, so you can watch it even if you're not at the venue.
I think
live streaming is a thing for even events itself.
It's moving a little bit from APEX to COPEX, CAPEX to OPEX. So yes, it's cheaper, but you're investing in different areas.
And the last story of the day is a simple one. Abu Dhabi is planning a dedicated electricity tariff for AI-focused data centers, aiming to support rapid infrastructure expansion while protecting households and businesses from higher power bills. It is one of the contentions by everyone. Why is everyone else going to pay the higher electricity bill? But officials say the move is designed to ensure large-scale computing facilities like G42 UAE, which is being built in Abu Dhabi, will pay the true cost of the electricity and grid investments they require.
Energy demands from hyperscalers such as Microsoft, Amazon, and Google is rising sharply. focusing utilities to invest in new power generation and grid infrastructure. Abu Dhabi Department of Energy official Syed Fawad Al Gilani said that the Emirate wants pricing to remain cost reflective, avoiding any shift of expenses onto ordinary consumers. We need to be fair with all customers, he said during the World Future Energy Summit.
Yeah, that's happening. Also, the proposed tariff would be globally competitive as Gulf states, including Saudi Arabia and Qatar and UAE, race to attract energy-intensive AI data centers with fast build-outs and abundant electricity. Gilani also said that Abu Dhabi aims for a standardized pricing framework while still allowing operators to choose their preferred power mix, including renewable and conventional sources. The main story is that everyone is talking about, oh, they'll build new electricity grids, and everyone who has a 1 BHK will also bear the brunt in terms of charges and this and that, but it's also mostly going to be diverted to the people who are actually going to use those facilities. So it's a very interesting take. A lot of people aren't talking about this, but finally, obviously now all the trends and all the news comes out of this region, and Abu Dhabi is saying that they will have a separate tariff. Like we have the residential tariff, commercial tariff, these hyperscalers will have a different tariff rate. So it's good. They'll
More
pay for it.
expensive, is it?
Obviously, it's more expensive than the commercial rates that you have. So it's good that they'll pay for it, not us, in terms of municipality fees or any kind of fees.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much, Rich.
Thanks, Majid.
And everyone, thank you for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production, part of Augustus Media Podcast Network. Thank you to the 2 million readers, watchers, listeners. You make this possible. If you're one of them, we appreciate you.
Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye.